Good evening. The regular meeting of the Independent School District 279 School Board is called to order at 6 p.m. on July 23rd, 2024. This regular business meeting of the Osseo School Board is being conducted in the boardroom of the Educational Service Center. The meeting can be monitored electronically by streaming online from the district website. An archived recording of tonight's meeting will also be available on the district website. I apologize for the echo. I think it went away. Thank you. Seated in front of you this evening from my left to your right is Director Thomas Brooks. Director Heather Douglas is unable to be here tonight. Director Tanya Prince. Myself, Jackie Mosqueda Jones. Director Sarah Mitchell. And Director Tamma Grady. Superintendent Dr. Kim Heil and the members of the Superintendent's Cabinet are also present. Those of you who can, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Board members, are there any additions to the agenda tonight? Seeing none, is there a motion to accept the agenda as written?
So moved.
Moved by Tanya Prince. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Thomas Brooks. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. We have two presentations this evening, the first being an architectural update on Building a Better Future. John Morstead, Executive Director of Finance and Operations, will introduce the presenters. John?
Thank you, Chair Mosqueda Jones. So we're going to break our presentation into two different parts. We have two distinguished guests with us, our two different architectural firms that are going to help us through the process. So I'm going to get us kind of quickly kicked off, and then I will introduce it. And first we'll introduce to Lene Schoen with Wold Architects, and then I will introduce you to Nancy when we get to her section. So the outcomes of today's presentation, board members are going to understand the progress on the following projects, and these are the Wold projects that we're currently working on: Maple Grove Senior High, the new elementary school in Maple Grove, Osseo Senior High, Northview Middle School, Brooklyn Middle School, and an update on the first round of furniture installations. Just want to give you a quick visual on what our timelines look like with our projects. And as you can see here, there's a lot going on. If you start with lighter color, the lighter color squares, that's kind of our beginning of design. And as the colors get a little bit darker, we get a little farther into design. The dark blue pieces is the construction timeline for each project. We are working our way through a combined total of 66 projects. So here you have page 1 and page 2 as we're working our way through all these projects. So the next wave that we start on really starts this fall and leads into winter for a whole nother wave with both organizations again. So at this time, I will turn it over to Lene to talk about our first projects.
Thank you, John. We're going to start things off with Maple Grove Senior High. Chair Mosqueda Jones, members of the board, Superintendent Heil, thank you so much for having us here tonight. On behalf of Wold Architects and Engineers, really excited to share with you all some updates as we are in design and doing some fun things. So we'll start off with Maple Grove Senior High. The last time we presented to you, we were in schematic design, which is very big picture idea generation. We had the core planning group, if you recall, that was a group that represented members of the community that helped us really get the design started. And I've got here just an overview again of the project to just kind of re-ground ourselves in the work that's happening at Maple Grove Senior High. Again, we are utilizing the existing Maple Grove Senior High site. We are increasing the capacity from 2,185 students to 2,730. So some major renovations and additions are happening at that site. You can see that we are affecting approximately 65,000 square feet of building additions that will happen. And then we also have about 34,000 square feet of building renovation, so a lot of work happening there. You can see that the Building a Better Future referendum process has dedicated around $56 million for that total project cost, and there's a $32 million partnership with LTFM funding, which is a common funding process for the majority of the projects that are happening. And again, the end result is to have that turnkey move-in experience for your students and your staff at that building. This is an overview of the project schedule. You can see that it's a long construction schedule, and currently we're in contract documents for this project. So what that means is we have wrapped up all of our meetings with your staff and teams at that site and your district administration. We are currently working on construction documents, plan to bid the project December of 2024, and then hit the ground running in the new year. One thing to point out on this project, because of all of the square footage and the site being affected, this will be phased construction. So you can see here on this diagram that there are multiple summers and construction that will be going on through for the next couple of years here, with the end goal of full occupancy in fall of 2027. And then just to pause on the process a little bit, again, we just wrapped up design development. As you can see in the diagram on this sheet, that really represents the work that has been done with your teams at that site, getting down to a lot of levels of detail in regards to where are the light switches, what kind of cabinets do you need, where do we need power, where do we need water sources and sinks. And so all of that information has been documented and is being implemented into the construction documents. One thing that's really exciting to share with all of you is that there was a lot of participation in this planning. We had well over 19 user groups that we have been meeting with over the last 4 months, well over 150 staff and administrative team members participated in these meetings, and there was a total of little over 50 meetings to get the information right at this site. So we really enjoyed working with your community and your staff and students. One thing I just wanted to share here too as well is the site plan. You can see here on this diagram that the white area there is the building, a large site. And you can see in the dark shaded areas that those are the areas where the additions are planning to be happening here. So you can see a lot of the additions are on the north side of the building, and there is an infill at the main entry, which is a building addition as well. There's been a lot of coordination with the city throughout the last couple of months, partnering with them and understanding the development that's coming along Fernbrook Lane and coordinating entrances onto the site and off of the site, traffic studies. There will be a new bus loop on this site and an additional 114 parking stalls. So that's just kind of a high level of some of the site amenities that are affected. This diagram we presented to you last time we were here as well, just to share really the diagram of the building, and the overview of this diagram here on the cafeteria level of the building is showing the building addition in the darker, more bold colors, classrooms and labs. And then just a reminder that there will be a new, some new locker rooms or renovated locker rooms, additional locker room space, that there will be more kiddos at the site. And then some additional work down into the weight and fitness area as well. These are the upper level, second and third floor of this building. An overview of the work again is really a lot of renovation down in that music wing as the building needs to take on some more capacity. That was a big area of focus, was renovating that so we could gain some more music rooms down there. The large addition will be happening off of the cafeteria commons, and there will be more celebrated events entry back there for access for events. And then again, the multi-level classroom addition off of the back there, where you'll have classrooms and labs, and the career and technical education addition as well. And these are a few new photos and images. Again, I should call them images. So we're predicting what the construction will look like as we wrapped up design. This is the front entrance. One of the priorities for this project was to have a safe and secure front entrance and a more prominent identity for the building. So you can see here that there is a new entrance planned. This is the opposite side of the building. And if you go left to right, You'll see left of the bus there, there's a one-story mass, which is a career and technical education. The three-story with the windows right behind the bus, that's all classroom addition, where those classrooms and labs will be happening. And then where you see a lot of the glass there, that will be circulation, and that will be informal meeting space for the scholars at the site, and then that cafeteria addition as well, and the new bus loop. This is an image as if you were walking into the front door. Because of the addition, there's an opportunity to reorganize this space as a part of this project. It's taking that part of that office and moving it to the front door. And then you can see here some new materials and finishes as you enter that main front door of the building. This is a view of the new cafeteria commons, so taking into account the existing structure and facility that's there and adding on. And this is a sneak peek into the lab and classroom cluster addition. Again, having those labs and classrooms that can open up for a lot of collaboration and synergies with your career and technical education plans and general curriculum as well. And then that career and technical education wing, that at this site it's construction, engineering, and business. We'll move on to the new elementary school project. Again, just to kind of ground ourselves in the work, this is a new pre-K 5 elementary school built on a district-owned site. Capacity to be around 1,000 students plus early childhood. The building size, part of the referendum project, is 125,000 square feet, plus a gymnasium partnership with OMGBA. And then you can see the estimated construction costs there, and again, a turnkey move-in experience with new furniture. This schedule here you can see in kind of the peach color there. We're in August. We are just getting into contract documents, so much like the high school, we're in the same phase where we wrapped up design development. We will be bidding this project again in December of '24, and the project will be complete fall of 2026. Again, just a sneak peek into that design development phase of the project, where all of that detail, again, meeting with your users and your staff district-wide to help plan this new elementary school, as it hasn't been staffed yet. So that was a wonderful experience to get a lot of perspectives. And again, 15 plus user groups, 90 plus staff participated in these meetings. And again, well over 50 meetings to get the details right. The general concept for the new elementary school, being that it is in Maple Grove, is to really respect and blend in and be a part of the geography there. The site here, again, is, we've been working with the city and in coordination for the development of Arbor Ridge and 101st. That's where the site is located. This site will have a separate parent drop-off and a separate bus loop for site safety. There will be an outdoor classroom included in this project, much like all of your other elementary school projects. There will be separate early childhood and K-5 playgrounds, and there will be paths on this site that will be lovely connections to all of the neighborhoods that surround that area. And this is an image of the front entrance. So if you are pulling up into the main parent drop-off at the front of the building, you can see the structure there, the main entry kind of in the middle that has the white columns there. And then what you're seeing here is a glance into the media center and a glance into the classroom clusters. This is the back side of the building, so classroom clusters to the left. You're starting to see the cafeteria on the right, and you can see how the bus drop-off here on the other side of the site relates to the building. And this is an example here of the outdoor resource area. One thing that's unique to this site is that every classroom cluster will actually have an outdoor area where the grade level classrooms and special services spaces as well have access to outdoor play right outside their classroom clusters. This is a image as if you were to continue from the front door. and enter a little bit further into the building, you can see the cafeteria commons on your right. A lot of natural light in this building. And the view that we're facing down is the view that would take you down to the gymnasium spaces in this facility. This is an image of the media center, a 2-story space where all of the classroom clusters connect, a lot of natural light, open, flexible learning spaces here in the core of the building. This is an image of a learning studio, which has all of the classrooms that are clustered around an open resource area, much like the Rice Lake Edition. This is a view of the gymnasium space. There'll be bleachers. And this is the image that we shared with you last time we were here in regards to the general organization of that learning studio, where there are multiple classrooms that open up to a resource area. There will be small group areas and rooms off of that cluster, a mudroom for lockers, and toilets right in the general classroom cluster area. And then, so those are the 2 projects that are going into contract documents, and we're preparing to bid those in December. Osseo Senior High, we have just gotten rolling on that project. That project is in schematic design. So just to kind of ground you in that beginning part of the process, we're working with a task force there that's primarily building administration and the facilities teams here in the district to better understand how to organize that building and meet the Building a Better Future goals. And that core planning group has been meeting throughout the summer, so it's been great that they've been available to do that during summer months. The goals for this site, again, are to utilize the existing site. Capacity stays the same. However, there will be an addition on this building for the auto lab as part of that career and technical education piece. And then there will be about 95,000 square feet of renovations in this building to help organizing it around those current technical education spaces, as well as achieve some of the goals that include a media center remodel as well. Here's the schedule for Osseo Senior High. You can see that we're currently in design development. This one will bid a little bit later. We're planning for February of 2025, and this project is set to be complete fall of 2026. This is a site diagram showing, if you can see the black area there, that is the actual building addition. So on the back side of the building, there will be that new auto lab accessible off of that pavement area there in the parking area. Some other large goals here are create a loading dock, and then there will be 55 additional parking stalls at this site as well. This is a building diagram that shows where all of the work will be happening. A couple of the highlights again are the media center in the core, right where you see that main entrance. There will be a new secure entrance. There will be some funding tied to the auditorium renovations. Career and technical education is healthcare and auto and business at this site. And then we're going to roll into the 2 projects that are well under construction and phases are wrapping up. So if you've been over to Brooklyn Middle School, that project has been under construction. Things are wrapping up there, and we're getting ready for school to start. And that is phase 1. So classroom renovations, mechanical, electrical work will be complete. And then this building will be gearing up for another summer's of, worth of construction to really take on that main level, where a lot of those lab spaces will be re-envisioned, locker commons, etc. So again, first phase is complete this fall, and then that second phase will be complete in 2025. This diagram here is just showing all of the classrooms that have been affected on the 2nd and 3rd floor. They've been remodeled, replacing mechanical systems and lighting, new ceilings and paint. So really a large refresh on those upper levels of this building. And then this is the main level. This is the work to come. Again, a lot of the labs that have been re-envisioned here, planning is done. This project, this phase has been bid and is ready to roll for summer of 2025. Again, there's that secure entry work, remodeling science art project Lead the Way, and then more new mechanical systems and lighting on that first floor. Then a couple of images that we've shared with you, re-envisioning that front entrance. This is the Help Desk Media Center, which is under construction now, so this will be opening shortly after school starts. And then Northview Middle School, this project again, currently in construction, set to be complete here in the next couple of weeks, and there will be an additional phase to a project coming in summer of 2025. This diagram here shows the work that's in bold color that's happening now. And again, part of the remodel here is the new media center. The design lab makerspace. And then the last piece of the update is district-wide furniture. If you recall, an effort to put furniture in all of your school facilities. And this summer, there were 5 sites that received new furniture, and that's Rice Lake and Garden City. And here's a photo of some of that new furniture at Rice Lake. And then Brooklyn Middle and Northview Middle and Osseo Senior High, we followed construction, or if there was no construction, as the situation is at Osseo Senior High, they got new furniture in all of their classrooms at that site. So this was just a small phase. Next summer, you've got 10 sites that will be getting new furniture. So there have been some wonderful experiences and learnings, and we continue to meet with the district. And we'll be starting the next cycle up shortly here to get going on planning for all of those. And with that, that's a lot of work and a lot of planning, kind of the Nickel tour of what we've been up to. But are there any questions or comments that I might address?
I actually have a couple questions. Again, thank you for your work and the beautiful designs, and as a teacher in one of those flexible learning spaces, game changer. I know you're talking about all the focus groups for the, in the planning process, and we had numbers for staff. How many students were involved in? Like,
Yeah.
was there a good number? Did we have any?
That's a great question. We had core planning groups at the very beginning of the new elementary school and Maple Grove Senior High. Those were really large planning groups, and they each had, I would say, 5 to 6 students that helped us plan and help make all of the large big picture decisions. When we got into design development and down to the level of countertop heights or cabinet storage, we really focused more on the expertise of your teaching and learning team and your staff to help us get those right. But students were absolutely involved in the core planning group process of every project.
Do we have licensed and unlicensed staff on those? Like ESPs?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Yes.
Just checking, cause, thank you.
Yeah.
I think, oh, one other question. How many students does Maple Grove Senior High have now? I know what the capacity is, but are we over capacity?
Yes.
Yes.
We're about 2,400 and change
Okay.
today. But we're 2,400 and change, busting at the seams and having kids crammed pretty much everywhere.
Oh, I know.
One of the differences, and we've had people ask the question, why are you only going to 2730? We're going to 2730 with full flexibility.
Mhm.
So it's first you fix the capacity issues today. So we have the flexible spaces. We can use the media center as what intended. We can use all those other flex classrooms and so forth, and then you boost up the capacity so that combination should alleviate that. But at the same time, our projections for the next 10 plus years show that's the number we're gonna hit. And trying to be cognizant of taxpayer dollars, we didn't wanna ask for more than we should. So.
Thank you.
So I had a similar question / concern about capacity, both at Maple Grove Senior and the new elementary. So given your last statement, does that mean that we will not, right now, we're not open for open enrollment at Maple Grove Senior? This number doesn't appear like it accommodates additional students being able to open enroll. So I just wanted some sort of clarity on that to see if this is a site, both sites that the entire district will be able to access, or if it's limited to those that live within whatever those boundaries will be in that time.
And we have an enrollment committee, and so far, we've not had that conversation yet, but as we get closer, we'll have to have that conversation. We regularly look at all of our buildings to see, do we need to either slow or, or try to increase enrollment into certain buildings? Sometimes we'll see enrollment come in and we'll actually, do what we termed a soft close, where we'll say, hey, it looks like, third grade at this building is already full. So we're gonna not allow any more transfers. Those who live within the district or within that boundary automatically get in, no matter what. But if some wanted to transfer in, we'd start slowing that down for the staff continuity and to kind of keep that number in line. But we have to have that conversation as a committee as a whole to see going forward. But knowing that we have a few years before we get to be able to use full capacity, we have a little bit of time.
And I just had a question, at the auditorium at Maple Grove Senior High, is there a date that should be complete, the renovation on the auditorium?
I don't have the date for that. We're working through the phasing of the construction with
Mhm.
our, the district's construction partners, ICS. So we will likely, when we get ready to go out to bid, we'll be able to give you a very detailed schedule of the phasing to let you know which parts of the building will be released at what time throughout that 2.5-year
Okay.
timeline.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
I don't
you.
think there are any other questions, thank you.
Thanks,
John.
Lene. So I'd like to introduce Nancy Levissinaire with ATS&R Architects. She's been working on the other half of our projects, and she's going to walk us through where we're at with those.
Okay, let's try that again.
Just control that. There you go. Is it going to be happy?
Okay, sorry about that. Let's see if we can get this thing going right here. Now we are gonna. Okay, it was there. Now we're not. Let's see here. John's coming around. Sorry about this, guys. We'll figure it out. Should we just grab it from here again? Put it back somehow.
Just close it and reopen it.
Yeah. There we go. I don't know, I must have bad luck. All right.
I was sitting by Anthony, that helps.
Okay, let's get this started. Again, I'm Nancy Levissinaire with ATSR Planners, Architects, and Engineers. Superintendent Heil, chair, members of the board, and cabinet, we're very excited to be talking with you about ATSR as part of the work. We've been working with your district for many years, and we're very excited to be a part of this referendum work as well. Oh, let's see here. It just wants to do its own thing. There we go. Yep, we'll move it over here. There we go. Get my finger on the right spot. Okay, so the first portion that we're going to be talking about is the year one alterations for some of the elementary schools. So we have the six of them that we're doing first: Edenbrook, Woodland, Fernbrook, Oakview, Basswood, and Rush Creek. These schools are sister schools, so we say sister schools because they're not twins, they're not exactly alike, but they're quite close in their plans, as many of you know. And from a time frame standpoint, we are in the middle of design development with these projects, and so they will go out to bid this fall, and most of them will construct this coming summer. We have 2 of them that are waiting a year because of the switch over to the new elementary, and moving around of students. It just helps them function better if Fernbrook and Edenbrook wait for construction another year. So that's kind of the time frame for those pieces. And the other, sorry about that, and of course I'm It must be my bad technology day, because I forgot to turn my phone down too. Dale, can you find it there? I'm sorry about that. He's
Go
gonna
big or
dig.
go home.
There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so, the scope of these projects, we have a media center remodel with the makerspace. We have an outdoor classroom, 2 flex classrooms, safety, security updates, and furniture replacement throughout is part of that work, as you're aware, that we kind of are queuing up for all of the elementary schools. So we're gonna focus tonight on kind of 2 pieces to highlight for you, the media center remodel and the outdoor classroom portions. So these are just a few shots of, as we were going through schematic design, we had a very collaborative process where we went back and forth between the groupings of all 6 schools together, their stakeholders meeting together, and then we also met with individual schools. So we found it worked really well because they had the opportunity to learn from each other and get input from each other and their different ways of working and doing things. And then we could go back to the individual schools and they still had their own choice within their specific building. We didn't force them to do what everyone was doing. So we found that really worked quite well. And so through the schematic design process, we had a consensus building portion where we worked to get down to a few different options and of kind of layout pieces. And you can see in there that we have our multipurpose maker space, that kind of large group teaching meeting space, a reading area, some of those small group rooms so that you can do breakout and some of the collaborative pieces, a TV studio / conference space, and then that circulation desk with that tech help desk, which functions a little bit differently at the elementary level than it does at middle or high school, but same idea. And some staff work area, and then of course we want to get that flexible furniture in as part of the process, and mobile stacks for flexibility. So you're seeing just a few of the options that the group, as they work together, got themselves down to. And then we started looking at some of the furniture layout to really see how that kind of fine-tuned. And this is a slide that shows you actually all of the schools together, so you can kind of see how they ended up coming together. So for instance, they have a lot of similarities. Fernbrook is a little different than, I should not have moved my thing because now it wants to do something silly. Okay. Fernbrook is a little bit different. It was the first school that was built, so its layout is actually mirror image from the other ones when it comes to where the desk, the front desk, and where there's a technology closet that's kind of buried back in there that limits. It's the head end for the school so that drives where that chunk of that has to be. So Fernbrooks is on the opposite side as everybody else's, so that's why you see that purple area on the opposite side at Fernbrook than you do the rest. They also made the decision to move their makerspace kind of opposite up into that wing. The rest of the schools, we have the makerspace in what was the art room back in the day, and which worked really well because we have a lot of those same type of activities and resources and those kind of things that are used, so it makes sense to use that larger space for the makerspace. And you can see there's several schools that are kind of picked the same general layout. We have Edenbrook and Basswood and Rush Creek are quite similar, and then Oakview and Woodland are quite similar. Oakview is the only one of the 6 that chose to do a central circulation desk. That was one of the options that we tested out, and they really went for it, which is a little different model, and they're excited about it. So this kind of gives you the feel for how they all compare to each other. Then we started getting into the design aspect of it for the media centers. There's a challenge in all the 6 of these buildings because this front entry wall along the media center and the classrooms is a firewall. So what that means from a flexibility standpoint is we don't get to put a lot of openings in it. Basically no windows unless we spend a whole lot of money on very expensive opening protection and those kind of things. And so we had to get creative in different ways and find some flexibility in other locations. And so this happens to be Edenbrook and Fernbrook were the first 2 that were built. At those 2 buildings, there are, I guess I would call them fake columns in the front kind of media center area. So we're going to take those out to kind of widen out that entry area get some TVs in there, some monitors, so that you can have some, even if we can't see into the spaces, we can get some action and a live feel for that from a technology standpoint. And so we're able to do that there. What you're also seeing here is the start of one of the linear options. So we have some linear options with sub-options that the schools could select from, and we also have a round kind of themed option. And with some various, so this happens to be Edinbrook. They're leaning into their red, and so they chose the red, purple, blue. What you're seeing on the left side is, since we couldn't do a lot with the openings into the corridor because of the firewall, we did our openings between the media center and the makerspace. So we're doing our learning on display at that location to be able to showcase the work that's going on in the makerspace when you first enter the media center. And that's the circulation desk, and you're seeing some of the kind of stripe working its way around from ceiling down to the floor to work with those two kind of entry throats and really make a statement at the two entry throats as you're coming into those spaces, and then carrying that into here. One of the other things that was really important for all these media centers is, those of you who have been in those spaces, the existing ceilings in that area, those areas, some of them are quite low. They're like 7'9". And so maybe if you're this tall, it's not so bad. For the rest of us, it feels a little bit low. So one of the goals was really to get that ceiling up and have more of a openness and a little more liveliness and light feel. So that was an important aspect of this. So we're really opening up the middle section, and within this linear options, there were several ceiling options that the schools could select that went with each linear option. So this is Edinbrook's, and this is Basswood. So these are one of the later ones. For some reason, after Fernbrook and Edinbrook, they moved the columns, so they're not fake columns anymore, they're real columns. So I couldn't get rid of them. And so we just enclosed them because they were just kind of odd spots anyway, and cleaned them up a little bit. And so this is Basswood. They went more on the rainbow. They wanted to get all the colors going into theirs. And again, you see the learning on display through the makerspace in there, and chose a different ceiling layout that goes with that linear version. This is Oakview and Rush Creek, and they're leaning into the blue-green teal. And Oakview, as you can see beyond, has a center desk. So they're really excited about their center desk and how that really is a statement when you first come into the room. And this is their center ceiling area. You can see behind in some of these, actually, maybe I'll point it out in that one. The back in kind of beyond back there, you're seeing some of the small group rooms that are all glass, and we've got some accent walls on there to really bring some color and interest to some of those small group rooms in those spaces. And this is the circular option for those schools that decided they wanted to go that way. They're quite playful and fun. This is Fernbrook's media entry, and again, in that case, we could get rid of those side columns so that we can do the monitors. And this is Woodlands, where we can't do that. We're playing here with forms in a really fun way, creating some little nooks that kids can hang out in and have that little tucked in feeling. That we had some of our library media center people saying that kids like to tuck themselves into the bottom of the open bookshelves. So we're not going to let them do that, but it's a much more fun way to be able to allow that comfort nook feeling. So we have other furniture that can accommodate that as well. And so this is Woodlands. So Fernbrook's, again, had their makerspace in the back, so you don't see that when you first come in the main entry, and Woodland you do. So there's a little bit difference in how that is perceived. And so they have their corner desk, and we're doing kind of more, playing with more shapes, and that is their more circular ceiling version. And again, of course, we have flexible furniture that will happen throughout, soft seating, benches at the edges. All the bookshelves and the browser bins are on wheels so that everything can be moved around, everything is flexible. And the ceiling and the areas were designed so that basically if they chose to go back later and move their reading room to a different spot, or, you know, move those big kind of functions around within the open space, you can do that without having to rework a lot of things. So, but we do have kind of differentiation of space with some of those heights in there to be able to bring some visual interest and a lot more fun to the space, a lot more lightness and playfulness. Okay, so this is the example of some of the maker spaces, which are alongside the media center. So again, we're trying to have that learning on display. So you see the other side of that on the left there. A lot of different types of storage built into this space, between drawers and doors and tall cabinets and all sorts of different things to store the different materials. The back area on the kind of the back upper left portion of the photo is more the resource portion of the room. And so that has, again, more different types of storage, including a flexible tote system that is a clear tote of all different sizes, good sturdy polycarbonate stuff. That it also has a mobile portion, so each tote can be removed and put into its mobile portion and brought out to the desks or to the table areas, or potentially even brought to other classrooms if that's desired. So a lot of flexibility. We worked with district staff and curriculum to talk about what's needed, what type of things we need to store, and again, allowing for just a lot of flexibility to make anything they want, right? As that program really evolves, once you have this space, it's gonna be one of those things where they're gonna figure out more and more ways to use it, and I think it's really gonna be an exciting piece of the schools for you. The other thing that you're seeing here is the glass wall. It's called, one manufacturer name is NanoWall, you might hear that, between the media center and the makerspace. And all of the schools chose to have at least some seating next to the makerspace. Some of them, it's the entire large group area, and in this particular case, you're seeing a smaller seating group right next to it. So some of that makerspace can flow out into the media center and really share those spaces together and meld that function. The next piece we're going to talk about is the outdoor classroom. This is just a couple of examples of the outdoor classroom. And what you're seeing here are some of the various elements. So in all of them, they wanted to get a full classroom space, and how that appears really varies by the school, whether they wanted a more rustic kind of bench or a more streamlined type of version, and we gave them different options for what seating might be. You can see on the right-hand side there a version with little individual, kind of, if you've heard of sonotubes, the little, with a round concrete that's a little bit different heights, kids of different heights, it's different sizes, can sit on different benches, and there's a little bit of flexibility there, and you can get a little bit tighter together for small group work. There it goes again. My mom is in the hospital, and so I keep getting phone calls. So I apologize. I should have muted my phone. Anyway, so the other piece of this is we have various pathways that work their way around through there, and we have a water feature. Not necessarily water sitting there all the time, mind you, but more of a dry creek bed. I should have just gone over and shut it off. Here, I'm gonna just take and shut it down. I apologize. That's what I get. Yeah, let's just do that. There we go. All right. We have some, again, we're trying to get different size of groups, just like we're doing in the media center. Same thing out in the outdoor classroom. So some areas for very small groups to meet, medium size and large size, and different scales and different, again, kind of trying to do the nook thing from the outside. So possibly using grasses or trellises and those kind of things to create that semi-enclosed space, to be able to have a little bit of that feeling outside even, and yet still have supervision. And the way the creek bed or the water works is that it would only run when they're out there doing activities. It's not something that sits there all the time with running water. So that's the intent for the schools that are interested in that. And then of course also shading elements, which is always important. So trees as well as some natural sails, some sail canopy features that we might be adding to that. Let's see, and this is another example at Rush Creek. So this one, they actually have a woods area that they have in coordination with the park district or Three Rivers Park that they're using. And so there's another piece that's out in the woods, so there's a little less in this portion, but they still have all the same elements that they get to use. Okay, the next thing is Crestview. So as you know, that building is an entirely redeveloped and repurposed building. We are in schematic design in that for this project, so just really starting to dig into it a little bit. Timeline for this is we'll be going out to bid in about next June, and we'll be constructing through the fall of 25 and into 26, and then they get to occupy in 26. So just wanted to talk a little bit about the existing building first. There's a photo of the existing as you see there. Super low building, very 1960, trying to be energy efficient back in the day, right? What that means for us is that we have very, very low structure, 9 foot to the bottom of the joist. And so that, and a kind of an odd structural system that bears in a different direction than typical. So it's a challenge from a design standpoint to figure out how to run mechanical and how to do the things that we need to do and kind of open things up and get that collaborative and open feel that we'd like to have. So we're starting to work through those pieces and work with our design team to figure out how to manage that. So, and from the standpoint of the plan, we're honing in on a plan at this point. This is where it's starting to settle down to. And so you're seeing up on it's the south side of the building, but on your plan, it's the right side of the building is the early childhood area. So your pre-K type classrooms, that's going to be zoned separately from the rest of the building with a security barrier there with doors so that you can have some access control there. And then we have the clinic out front that the district has received a grant for that clinic. We're working through how that's going to function. The gym area is going to be converted into more of a professional development type space. We're looking at potentially infilling that recessed gym floor so it's all at one level and we can have more openings into there and subdivide the space with operable walls. So it really becomes a great professional development space that can be used at different scales for different size of groups. And as well as doing that in the former media center would also be a professional development space. And then the wing up in the upper part of the plan will be flex areas, but also some designated ECFE, a couple of designated ECFE rooms for birth to 5 and ECFE kind of flex rooms, and then other flex rooms that can be used for all sorts of things, anything from after school programs for kids, whether they're doing robotics or other things, maybe they're coming after school for some of those kind of functions, or community renting out space, all sorts of functions. The other thing that is important, is an interesting portion of this is of course, the cultural center, the American Indian Cultural Center. They have a great opportunity to expand their space a little bit from where they are now at Northview and really grow their program. And so we've got an opportunity there to get them a little more. Right now they have a lot of things happening in a small space, and we're able to spread them out a little, give them out a little bit, give them more room to work. So they have a maker space that they want to be able to do indigenous crafting and all of those kind of functions, a classroom space in the middle, and also a museum space. And we're looking at a lot of glass openings between to be able to show off everything that they have going on as part of their program. And they're located so that they can take advantage of all that professional development space. One other really important feature of this that we want to do is really in the middle of the building when you first come in, create a welcoming area that's really like, you want to call it the living room of the building. So an open, welcoming, comfortable space that serves as a transition space. You can meet someone, you can hang out while you're having if you're in the middle of, there's seminars or whatever going on, meet someone before you're going to go to a program, those kind of things. Just really an opportunity to open that central area up and change the feel of the building when you first come into the building. So that's an exciting opportunity that we're really looking at how to enhance the entry of the building. We're also going to be doing new entries on the front of the building to do that same thing, Right now, you can kind of see it's smaller along the top there. You can't really tell. The main entry looks like it's down on the end of the building where the sign is, right? And you can't, it's kind of a long canopy and you can't really tell even so much where the main entry is. So we're really gonna highlight that main entry with a new canopy out there, get a separate entry for the clinic, and also one on the other end for the early childhood area, so to try to define all those separate functions. We're working through early site planning right now, still working with the city, kind of defining where we can be and where we can't be with access off of the side street in the back and some of those kind of things. So that isn't totally finalized yet, and so we're getting there. But it's a process here with trying to work through kind of all the pieces that we're juggling and the structural challenges and the rest of those to be able to really, to get to something that I think will be a very exciting building when we're done, and a real opportunity for the district to expand that usage as that welcoming community center and early childhood location all in one spot. And that is my piece, so I'm happy to answer any questions that I can for you.
Thank you. Any questions?
So
But-
I have, oh, go ahead. I had a question on Crestview. I thought we were still discussing exactly what was gonna go in there, but we're in design already?
We are in the schematic early kind of bubble diagram stage, and so the discussions that we've had with the core planning group is that there's still some ongoing, there have been some surveys, as I understand, with the community, and there's some other reaching out that is still happening. That's why those flex rooms have the capability to accommodate all sorts of different programs, and so there's still plenty of time if there's a little bit of tweaking that needs to happen to be able to accommodate different programs. We're still well within the stage that we can do that as needed, depending upon what feedback is gathered.
Will there, I guess this is more for Dr. Hill, will there be a board action to approve the final decisions on what is taking place at the repurposed site?
I am not sure. I think we will be sharing with the board. Do we need a board action, General Counsel Moore?
It wouldn't be a board action unless there was some lease. The lease would be subject to board action, but not necessarily the programs that are going in there.
But of course, the board will have input, right? So right now, it's literally, outside of, yes, for sure, we're gonna have our pre-K, and for sure, we're gonna have our, Native American and Indigenous group and FACE, and, right now, we are in just exploratory stages of the actual clinic.
Yeah, that
So,
was the
Is
one
that
that
the one?
the
Yeah,
grant
so yeah, we
status
would-
and, yeah,
Yeah, we'll talk,
Okay,
we'll talk on
perfect.
that. That's just an exploratory stage right now.
yeah.
So that space is just being there right now, but it's not definite now. Of course, we will discuss that with the board.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Helen.
And any other questions?
What was the idea behind the production kitchen and community kitchen?
Sure, sorry, thank you, I didn't get into those.
Can we have John answer that, if
Sure.
that's okay? John, can you
Sure,
answer that,
Sure,
please? Thank you.
The production kitchen, the district has a production kitchen today. What we've been using is Willow Lane's kitchen. However, it is very, very small. And also the programming happening at Willow Lane, they would actually like to be able to use that for some of their programming, just for other needs, cleaning things. That get a lot of, I don't know the right term, a lot of pieces that they want to be able to clean, so they want to use some of those capabilities there that we've kind of taken away from them. That started with COVID. That got turned into, that kitchen got turned into a production kitchen during COVID, and we continued it. But with this change, Crestview's kitchen happens to be a really large space. So we're gonna take advantage of that, turn it, number one, into a production kitchen, so we can still do it, predominantly making cold bento boxes and cold items that can be shipped out to all the sites. But also have the flexibility that we can use it to still serve the early childhood classes that are there, and also to be able to cater and host events. So as an example, if we were going to have an all-district or a district learning leaders event where we would normally come in the morning and have a light breakfast or something along those lines, where today we're renting that space, we'd be able to handle that capability on our own. And then the other piece was a community kitchen that's being set up kind of like a fax lab in a school, where it's much more residential grade kitchen, where we can have the opportunity with either community ed enrichment to do classes, or American Indian Ed can teach cultural cuisine options for our indigenous cuisines and how to do that. So we wanted to have a space that the community can utilize, because there's a lot of restrictions with a production kitchen where we can't just let the general public in. So we wanted to have the other option with a community kitchen.
And what I can do as well, board, I'll just add it on to our September 10th work session so we can go deeper in everything and get questions. So we'll add it on to our next work session.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
I have a comment. I think the part of the presentation that laid out the sister school sites, I think is really helpful, because I'm not sure if the entire community kind of really understands that our footprints are the same, that our long-term planning ensures that we're having improvements made consistently across the district. And so having the illustrations, I thought was really helpful too. So
Great.
that's something that we're working hard to really be clear on and drive more education about. So that's really helpful. Thanks for
Glad to
showing
hear.
that.
And I just want to say thank you again for all this work.
Sure.
And one thing that I imagine you're putting into that, but with outdoor classrooms, to think about the environment and sustainability options to do some of that education.
Absolutely, and there've been some discussions about, what kind of plantings and whether they would be, do each school want to look at more native plantings potentially? And we haven't really gotten to that stage yet. That's really more of that design development piece for that aspect of it. So we kind of have the overall, the layout generally, but not the specifics in regard to that. So that's certainly something we'd be keeping in mind.
Yeah, I was thinking with the water, running water, at my school, which is a sustainability school, we have a rain garden, so that's where the water ends up.
Right.
And so just thinking about design and how the natural, yeah.
It's a little trickier when we have existing buildings because their roof drainage is already piped. You know what I mean? So we can't necessarily grab it and connect the existing building in the same way without spending quite a bit of money to redo those rainwater systems. But certainly within the area of drainage that we have to work with, there may be some potential to try to do that.
Well, mine was a really old school that doesn't have any money, so there's ways to,
Yeah,
and it wasn't like a system of filtration, I mean, it's just for collecting the rain.
sure. Good point.
So the only other thing I wanted to go back to Tanya's, Tanya's comment. I was gonna say director. Dr. Howell, you probably already have it on your list, but for that September meeting, maybe just an update on the communication and engagement plan in the district as it relates to kind of designing the Crestview site. And then I think on the architectural side, I think just some feedback, I guess closing the loop on how we're incorporating that feedback from community in the design and programming of the flex spaces.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of gave a cheat sheet at our last board meeting
Yeah.
of those ideas.
Yeah.
Yep, and we'll bring that in there and share that. Most definitely.
A final comment I have is, with the Building a Better Future being 2 phases with many years on ECMAC, looking at when do we make that investment, when do we start construction, with COVID in there, I think it's just amazing to see it come together. And I think it's a real strength of this district to take that proactive approach to ensuring that our facilities are keeping pace with our students' needs. That we're not a district that lets everything kind of come down and then have to go ask and then build it back up. I think that's really the strength of our size and to the support of our taxpayers who have been able to provide this funding for us and support us and participate in the process. So it's just another opportunity to say thank you to our community for all of the things that you've shown tonight, for making it possible, and for the staff for so many years of looking at this and preparing. It's really fun to see the actual renditions coming together and plan. Thank you. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is a summer programming report shared by members of the community education team. Brian Severson Hall, Executive Director of Community Engagement, will tee up the presentation and introduce the presenters. You're on, Brian.
All right, I'm ready. Well, Chair Mosqueda Jones, school board members, and members of the audience, good evening. My name is Brian Severson Hall. I'm the Executive Director of Community Engagement, and I'm excited to be able to present a recap of our summer 2024 programs. Don't let the size of our presenting group scare you that this is going to be extra long, but I wanted to make sure that you all had a chance to see and or meet and hear from the people who led this work this summer. So you're gonna hear some brief comments from all the wonderful people on our team. You know, we believe that summer programs are a vital part of our district's opportunities that we offer, and when our team thinks about what we call out-of-school time programming or non-school day programming, which includes the summer, we really have kind of three goals, and those goals are that when young people are gonna experience a positive place to be. It's not always the same school that they attend during the school year, as you'll hear. We want to make sure that when they attend these positive places, they're met by caring adults, right, who give them an awesome summer experience. And then lastly, that they experience creative opportunities. And I believe by the end of our presentation, you're going to see that we achieved that this summer, right? So we're going to talk about that. And not only did we achieve those three things, but our program impact was we achieved those for over 5,000 scholars this summer, right? So we are thrilled that we serve that many people during the non-school time and our out-of-school time in the summer. And we wanted to talk to you kind of a little bit about the scope of the buildings that we utilize. So you just heard all sorts of wonderful plans on Build a Better Future. Needless to say, that creates a puzzle piece for us in the summer, right? Because a lot of our buildings are under construction. So this summer, and when I say we, I mean Carrie. She works really hard to partner with Dale and John and Jeff and the rest of that team to really figure out where we can get all 5,000 of these kids to be in a great spot, right? So this summer, we were able to utilize 14 district buildings and other spaces to provide multiple program options to support our scholars and their families. And just so you realize, if you remember last year, school ended on Thursday, June 9th. We started serving these 5,000 kids on Wednesday, June 13th, right? And that means we literally set up these buildings and spaces because these programs aren't necessarily in those spaces. So kudos to our team who does that. And we just wanted to give you an idea of where we were at this summer. We provide programming throughout the geographical area of our district. And like I said, we work closely with buildings and grounds and the many construction projects. And I think this summer we really did a nice job of having spaces all throughout the school district. You can see the different buildings that we were at. Of course, that's our goal. Now, whether or not we're able to 100% accomplish that throughout the entire Build a Better Future process will be dependent on which buildings are closed in the summers, but I think this summer we're really able to do that. And I'm gonna turn it over to Carrie, and each of our staff will introduce themselves as they come up.
Good evening, everyone. I get the joy of the puzzles that are coordinating summer programs, but first, I could not do that by myself. As Brian said, it's me doing it, but it takes all of the departments that are listed up there to make summer successful. So first and foremost, I need to say thank you to all of our district partners that I start bugging honestly in November. So school starts in September and I start pestering them in November.
where am I going to be able to place summer programs? Because registration starts for some of them in January. So it's really critical that we touch almost every single department in our system to make summer a success. So this is just a huge list that we rely on daily during the summer, and then pretty heavy as we prepare for the summer as well. Some of the summers that happen, or some of the programs that happen this summer are listed up there as well. Some of them are run from our department in community education. Some of them are run by individual sites. Some of them use targeted services or ALC funding to support additional credits for high school students. So there's lots of variety of programs. Multilingual has elementary and a middle and high school summer camp as well that runs during the course of the summer. So really trying to be not inclusive of certain needs during the summer, and then they all happen at different times during the summer too. Some of them happen for the entirety of the summer. Some of them happen for 6 weeks during the summer. Some of them happen for a week if they want to come to a camp at one of our enrichment camps, for instance, as well. So trying to give that choice and voice to our scholars and their families as well to kind of meet all of those needs as well. And then our little learners as well, trying to get families engaged early into our programs too, that we're going to highlight here a little bit further. Some of our celebrations are going to include the different programs. I'm going to quickly talk a little bit. I get the privilege of helping with our middle school targeted services programs. I love middle schoolers. They're unique and they're punchy and they love to have fun during the summer. We do 2 different programs. You may have heard of OMG or Game On. They're an amazing program. I've had strong staff with me the last few years, so they really dive in and get to know the students and try to change things up than their normal middle school experience. This summer we were at Park Center for one of them and Osseo Middle for the other. The students get to work on multiple areas, really academic in the morning, and then we call them enrichments in the afternoon that the staff get to lead, something that they're passionate about. So they're passionate about pickleball. They're going out in the afternoon and doing pickleball, but then they're graphing their pickleball scores and they're doing the math around it and reading the rules around it. So sneaking in some of those different academic components as well to do that. And I also thought it was really cool. I pulled our credit recovery staff that did that. 732 credits were earned in credit recovery this summer, which is amazing to hear through the course of the summer as well. Targeted services is in line with the ALC and credit recovery as well. That's why we're allowed to do it. So I wanted to make sure and get that in there as well for you to see.
Taj Tianabel with Early Childhood and Family Education. And this summer we had to get creative because we couldn't use our physical building with all of the construction that's happening. But working with an amazing team, we were able to support over 200 families this summer over a 4-week program. That ranged from our early childhood family education classes at Willow Lane to being in the various parks across the community. So Maple Grove, Osseo, and Brooklyn Park, where families were able to come to our nature class during the day, and they absolutely loved it, even though we weren't able to use our nature play area at our building. We also worked with community partners like Metro Transit, Eastman Nature Center as well to learn more about our community for our families that are just entering into our community, which was amazing as well too. So we're looking forward to next summer and being able to expand that. Over the summer, families were able to buy summer activity bags, so if they weren't in our programs, this was a way that they could continue to enhance their learning over the course of the 3 months that we were not in school. And then we are also able to hire additional staff so that we can attend more events, get out into the community a little bit more, providing more outreach opportunities as well.
Some fun pictures. One of the things that I want to highlight is the native Spanish speaking class that our early childhood family ed did too, right? So I know Brian got to visit it. I did not get to visit it, but it sounds like it was an amazing experience for both the scholars and sorry, I'm not by the microphone, the scholars and the families that were engaging, but also just the few staff that I've talked to about as well. So these are just some of the more pictures from that too.
Hello, welcome. I'm Christy Johnson. I get to help coordinate the Kids Stop summer program. Just excited to be able to share a little bit about how our summer operations went. We served our whole community, first time in a really long time we haven't had a wait list. So that is like my big rah-rah every time. I get so excited when I say it.
But we served all of our community. We were at Basswood, Oakview, and Woodland, all while there was still construction and things happening in the spaces as well. We work really closely and collaborate with a lot of the departments that Carrie shared. We were open on June 13th, and we went all the way till August 16th. We also really engaged with our students in the community. We had over 70 field trips this summer. So we were always kind of on the go and giving kids an opportunity to explore a lot of different field trips, from the Children's Theater to Valley Fair to, we look at it by age level, archery, just some different dynamics that hopefully kids can experience that they wouldn't necessarily get or have an opportunity to. Our staffing consisted over 165 educational support professionals. We had 26 instructors who help kind of plan and lead activities and capture youth voice. It's their summer, so we want to make sure we're hearing what the kids want to do and bringing that forward as well. We have 10 lead instructors, 4 nurses, and 4 program managers, and then new leadership that came on board this summer was our site supervisors. So this is a new level of support for our families, our students, and our staff. So very excited to be able to build a stronger connection, develop some more relationships, and be more present on site. So, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Karstens, and I coordinate adult and youth enrichment. I'm so proud to be a part of every summer. I think that we had one of the best summers that we have had since I've been in the district. I'll start out with our youth mini camps. So those are the enrichment camps that we touched on a little bit earlier. We ran 170 different camps this summer. 94% of those camps ran. The average around the metro is 78 to 80% of those, so 94% is pretty good. That means that we didn't disappoint that many families when we had to cancel a camp. So we were located at Elm Creek Elementary. We had 2,021 total campers come between June 17th and August 8th. I think that's a pretty impressive number. And we couldn't do it without the support of the school. So shout out to Beth Ness. I hope she sees this because her and her staff are amazing. We've been there several summers and couldn't do it without her. Some of the favorite camps for kids were Camp Invention, Project Runway, woodworking, pre-K camps, private guitar lessons, intro to sports, and anything robotics. Those were some of the hot camps for the summer. We also ran adult classes. We don't typically, because we're so busy with summer, Camp Rocks, but we did run 12 classes this summer. 50% of them ran, so that was pretty good. Most adults don't really want to be taking classes so much in the summer, we figured out, but 2 of the most popular were acting for everyone and painting like Bob Ross. So here's some pictures from camp. A lot of smiles, a lot of learning. Just a little snippet of that. And then, in addition to camps, we also run Camp Rocks Academic Adventures. So that's for current kindergarten through 4th grade students. We were up this summer. We had 882 students enrolled, which was up from 731 in 23, so that was pretty good. Our goal is always to keep academic and social skills fresh for the upcoming school year. A schedule looks a lot like a school day with a little twist of summer fun in there, but they had breakfast and lunch. They do reading, math, science, art lessons, Phi-Ed, media center, team building activities. We have nurse support. We have a sports day. We also, this summer, had a generous donation from InSports Foundation. They were able to give every single student in our program free lacrosse and soccer kits. And then we also had an anonymous donation of 600 student backpacks for summer as well for the Crestview and Fair Oaks students. We had 130 279 teachers and ESPs ensuring that we had a successful summer of reading, math, and science. And we are continually thankful for their expertise. We have the most awesome teachers working in our program in the summer, and we we literally couldn't pull it off without them. So we do have a cute little picture here too of these were students. The students come from all over the district to our 3 summer sites. These campers were at Weaver Lake, and this was them getting their lacrosse kits. So thank you.
Yeah, so, well, thank you to our team, obviously, right? And I also wanted to, Kari, can you wave to everyone? Kari Sawyer is our ECFE coordinator, so she helps make all these happen. And, you know, it's hard, you never want to say what your favorite thing is, but my favorite thing this summer was visiting the ECFE class taught in Spanish. And when it's 9 o'clock in the morning and a little 3-year-old screams "Buenos dias" to you in the morning, it makes everything worth it, to be quite honest. So it was an amazing summer. I hope you got a flavor of the variety of programs we offer. You know, there's academic, there's enrichment, there's family support, there's credit recovery. It's really, well, it's impressive. You know, and our team's proud of the work that we do. And we were, as we shared in the board meetings, these are the people who make this work. When I tell you about our team that's working hard and is trying to recruit staff so that we don't have wait lists and that we provide opportunities, the group that you met tonight is the group that does it. So I'm grateful for them and for all that we got to do, and we're happy to take any questions.
Any questions?
No, just thank you.
Yeah. Oh,
Go ahead.
thanks,
Just-
Tamara.
Just one question, kind of a non-serious question, but still kind of serious. Pickleball.
Yeah.
Did we have any programming for pickleball and how?
Do we have one for adults, are you asking?
For adults or
Asking
youth?
for a friend.
Yeah.
For a friend.
Yeah, we do have some youth one too. I believe the municipalities are the primary providers of pickleball opportunities, and kind of like in community use of school facilities, you can never build enough gyms for basketball in the winter, and I'm sure the cities would say you can never build enough pickleball courts too, and when we talk to them, but yeah, that's a growing area. But yeah, and you could see when Melissa was sharing, a lot of times we offer samples to kids. Like, one of the things we do is we want young people to have a space that's safe and positive for them to just try things. Whether they succeed at it, fail at it, like it, say, I'll never do that again, that's fine by us, but they have a positive experience when they try it out with us, so that's important. But yeah, thanks, Tom.
Thank you, it was a great presentation.
Thank you.
You know, as a community ed person myself, I know that community ed isn't always understood by the community and how much you actually do. So I think this gave us a little taste of how many people that community ed serves and the caliber of people that work for community ed. So I appreciate you all very much, and thank you for what you do for your community.
Good job,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone. Have a good rest of the
Good
night.
job.
All right.
Brian, you have to stay.
The next standing agenda item is recognitions, and there are no recognitions this evening, but we will have several for our September meeting. The next agenda item is audience opportunity to address the school board, and I think the first time since I've been chair, we do have no one who is going to address. I didn't get any speaker cards, so now we're on to the next agenda item is the superintendent's report.
All right.
Dr. Howell, you're on.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Mosquito Jones and school board members. I am thrilled to officially welcome everyone to the 2024-25 school year. So while many people look forward to events like the State Fair or the Renaissance Festival, for me, the excitement lies in the staff and the start of the new school year. So after all, not every profession offers a chance to begin anew each year. So as we embark on our fresh start, our mission to build a better future for our scholars, staff, and stakeholders remains steadfast. This effort goes beyond construction projects that we have planned for the next 4 years, where we'll be creating flexible learning spaces and enhancing safety measures such as cybersecurity. It also includes a renewed focus on ensuring our work is tightly aligned with our strategic priorities. From the district level down to the individual classrooms, we will be laser focused on alignment, action, and measurement. This approach will help us ensure that our scholars acquire the skills they need to succeed in their educational journeys. By committing to our highest priorities, taking precise actions, and measuring our outcomes, we will achieve what I am now calling focused fidelity. Our scholars are top priority, and we are dedicated to helping them shine and achieve their dreams. Of course, none of this would be possible without the dedication and expertise of our talented and our caring staff. We are deeply grateful for their efforts. So together with these goals, we'll help Osseo area schools become the best place to learn and the best place to work. So next we have Points of Pride, which is a regular part of the superintendent's report. By sharing this Points of Pride, we're taking time to recognize and celebrate the scholars, staff, and community members who contribute to our accomplishment of our mission, which is to inspire, prepare each and every scholar with the confidence, courage, and competence to achieve their dreams, contribute to the community, and engage in a lifetime of learning. So here this evening, I have members of our district cabinet to assist in sharing some examples from the last month.
In the area of achieving dreams, Alisan Ann, a 2019 graduate of Maple Grove Senior High School, spent the entirety of his school career as a student of Osseo area schools. However, at the same time, he was focusing on academics, and at Fernbrook, Osseo Middle, and Maple Grove Senior High, he was also a student of Taekwondo at World Taekwondo Academy in Maple Grove. Ann was the first competitor to win 2 consecutive national titles. He ultimately became a 5-time U.S. national champion and competed at the 2024 Summer Olympic Games this summer in Paris. Learn more about Ann in the latest Grad Spotlight on our district website. It has been an exciting week of welcoming many students back into buildings, with fall activities and athletics kicking into gear at Osseo area schools, senior high schools. Students have filled the school's gymnasiums, fields, and swimming pools to start prepping for the 2024 season. This summer, our Community Education Youth Enrichment Program is offering an array of engaging and educational summer camps for school-age students to explore many interests, from the recent Junior MBA basketball camp to woodworking and TGA golf camp. Students are enjoying opportunities to learn and practice skills, have fun, and build friendships with other students. CCX Media recently featured Maple Grove Senior High School recent graduate and girls golfer Amelia Morton. Morton helped lead the girls golf team to their 2nd state championship, and she will play college golf for the University of St. Thomas.
Park Center senior high school student Natalie Morin recently received news that she won 2nd place in the National School Bus Safety Poster Contest. Morin won a $100 prize, and her poster will be featured by the National Association for Pupil Transportation in early August. In the area of contributing to community, during the school year, our nutrition services team works diligently each day to provide healthy and delicious meals. This work doesn't stop during summer break, with nutrition services continuing their work of keeping scholars fed. This summer, 33,909 breakfasts and 51,959 lunches were served. Rachel Hibbert, one of the summer nutrition service managers, has worked to provide summer meals for 9 years. Hibbert said, "Summers are a must for us. This is what we do, and in the summer we get to do it on an even larger scale. It may be less in-person contact with the students than during the school year, but still so rewarding to know you are putting out this many meals and feeding this many scholars." In the area of lifelong learning, this summer the Osseo Area Schools American Indian Education Department hosted the 5th annual Dakota Language Summer Institute, a free 1-week language institute featuring tracks for beginning and intermediate speakers, as well as a track for current and prospective start off and end each day. We start with traditional songs. We are learning through playing, singing, music, and the joy of building community. Brooklyn Middle STEAM School's summer construction projects are moving forward quickly, with only a few weeks left until school begins and construction ceases for the academic year. The school's second and third floors received improvements and modernizations this summer, including the Library Media Center, Makerspace Edition, new small and large group meeting areas, and a technology assistant counter.
More than 140 students from across the district participated in a multilingual summer academy, a month-long camp centered around language at Parkbrook Elementary School. The camp teaches math, reading, writing, and English skills. Students can delve into art projects, crafts, interpretive dance classes, outdoor sports, board games, financial literacy skills, book clubs, American Sign Language classes, and more. Participants take part in both on-site and off-site field trips to widen their experiences even further. OMG, a summer program through community education, serves students entering 6th, 7th, and 8th grade from Osseo Middle School and Maple Grove Middle School. This summer, the program was hosted at Osseo Middle School. OMG offers both academic and enrichment activities. During the final week, students participated in a variety of fun, including Jeopardy and relay races. First and second grade students are diving into Camp Rocks, community education summer program at Beaver Lake, a science, math, and technology school. Students are learning, practicing skills, and connecting with staff and other students in this enrichment program. Recent activities included spelling letters and shaving cream and exploring creativity with watercolor painting. Second and third grade students in the summer Kid Stop program at Oakview Elementary School recently embarked on a field trip to Shoreview Commons City Park. Students enjoyed a morning of outdoor fun, exploration, and learning. A favorite park activity for students was the zip line chair.
The Game On, part of the summer programs in community education, middle school students are immersing themselves in fun enrichment and academic activities this summer. Recently, during a visit to Park Center Senior High School, students were exploring interests, developing new skills, working in teams, and building friendships. Activities include cooking a meal, creative arts, hairstyling, puzzles, and more. We had a blast sponsoring Maple Grove Parks and Recreation's Kids Concert. Kids Dance had all the kids busting out their best dance moves. Huge thank you to everyone who joined us and visited our booth. Community Education's ECFE program introduced an exciting new class this summer, Community Visits for Spanish-Speaking Families. Designed for families with children from birth to age 8, this class provided unique opportunities to explore local community resources. Each week, families visited different neighborhood locations, engaged in hands-on learning and play. One week, Metro Transit visited the class at Willow Lane Early Childhood Center to share information about using public transportation. Families and staff had a chance to ride a Metro Transit bus, creating a fun and educational experience for everyone. In the area of mission-driven employees, the National School Public Relations Association recognized Osseo area schools this summer as winners of PEAT Awards to the district's efforts to communicate effectively with its staff, students, family, and community. The awards include awards of excellence for the staff and community newsletters, an award of merit for a grad spotlight, an award of merit for a Get Out the Vote campaign, and a golden achievement for the Building a Better Future Phase 2 informational campaign.
We're so excited to welcome our students back next week for the 2024-25 school year. Just a reminder for everyone, the first day of school will be Tuesday, September 3rd. Please make sure to fill out educational benefits and back-to-school forms prior to the start of the school year. More information, of course, can be found in District www.district279.org/back-to-school. Registration is now open for the District 279's Foundation's 14th Annual Reading is Fun 5K. It's hosted at Elm Creek Park Reserve on Saturday, September 21st. This is a family-friendly event will raise funds for media centers and Osceola area schools to purchase learning resources, and you can run or walk. Thank you. That concludes tonight's superintendent's update.
Thank you, Dr. Heil. Next up is the school board members' reports. Thomas, do you have any reports?
I do not have any reports.
Tanya?
I do. So the Brooklyn Bridge Alliance for Youth quarterly board meeting took place last week, and the key updates included progress on the strategic priorities around Reimagine Black Youth Mental Health, the Free College campaign to help provide education on the new funding available for college and according to income levels, and the after-school community learning grant, as well as the youth-to-youth survey. So the youth-to-youth survey has been completed. They're in the process of compiling the results, so I'm looking forward to us being able to receive that and see what that might mean for our plans for the kind of next priorities and for serving our students. One project that I want to call out within the Reimagine Black Youth Mental Health is a demonstration project, and I'm just going to read a short snippet from that because I think it's pretty neat. So this is a demonstration project on positive use, social media, and technology. So overview of the project will focus on education, policy, and positive use regarding technology and social media. We will teach youth about the dangers of social media and ways to navigate the social media algorithm. From there, we will create focus groups with students, school administration, and Reimagine interns to review and discuss Minnesota's legislative cell phone use policy in school, which we know we've been participating in that work. Finally, youth will work to build a project aiming to demonstrate positive use habits in real time with an overarching goal of creating safer, more positive online environments for themselves and their peers. So there's a lot of work going into that, and we're a partner, so I imagine that we'll see our students being involved in that work.
That youth survey is always fascinating. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very comprehensive.
It is. Director Mitchell?
No, not at this time.
Dr. Grady?
No.
At this time, I do have one board report. Went to the 287 meeting last Thursday. It was the first one back since June. We got presentations on the progress of the 6-month goals surrounding the strategic plan that was developed last year, and then presentations on this year's goals. Just something I thought was pretty thoughtful is there were 3 themes in the strategic plan: achieving academic success, equity and inclusion, and social and emotional learning. And so when they were writing their goals, the overall goal for the district, they submitted a student goal, a staff-focused goal, and a family-focused goal, which I thought was a great way to make sure that we're servicing the entire family when we're looking at those things. And each one of those had input from students, staff, and families. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that concludes our board reports. The next agenda item is the consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening includes minutes of the regular meeting from July 23rd, financial reports for the month of July, payment of items for the month of July, the 24-25 investment report, extended educational trips, fundraisers, personnel items, a contract by and between ISD 279 area schools and St. David Center for the purpose of providing school-linked mental health in the following buildings: Birch Grove, Crestview, Elm Creek, Fair Oaks, Park Brook, Rice Lake, Weaver Lake, Willow Lane, Woodland, and Zanewood. I just have to make a note, when I was working at in early childhood, we had this same thing, and it was life-changing. So I'm excited about that. And then the fiscal year 25 federal grant delegation resolutions. Board members, are there any items you'd like to remove for separate consideration? All right. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
I'm gonna give the motion to Director Mitchell and the second to Director Prince. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. All right. There are a few action items on the agenda this evening. The first is an action item, the recommendation for approval of the agreement on the terms and condition of employment between ISD 279 School Board and licensed coordinators. Information will be shared by Yvonne Shorts-Lind, the Executive Director of Human Resources. Yvonne.
Thank you, Chair Mosquito Jones. And I'm actually going to summarize, so there were 4 contracts submitted to the board. So I'm going to just start with an overall summary of the common terms. So the 4 contracts submitted to the school board for approval tonight, they are the license coordinator's labor contract, the director's labor contract, amendments to the superintendent contract, and amendments to the general counsel's contract. I do want to thank the labor relations director, general counsel, and the bargaining teams for the directors and license coordinators for their hard work and bargaining in good faith to reach tentative agreements. So in your board packet tonight, you all have memoranda summarizing the terms and conditions of the contracts, redlined labor contracts, and contract amendments for the superintendent and general counsel. A summary of the common changes to the terms and conditions of all 4 contracts follow. And again, the details are in the packet submitted. So the common changes are a 5% increase to the base salary in year 1, a 3% increase to base salaries in year 2, a salary advancement was changed to pay for performance and will be paid as a stipend in lieu of being added to base salaries for those contracts. Increases to district contributions to the group health plan options with no additional contributions to the high plan. An increase in the district contribution to deferred compensation and conversion from work days to, or non-work days, excuse me, to vacation days. So those were terms that are common to all contracts submitted. In addition to these changes, modifications were made to a benefit plan and a retirement incentive MOU for directors, and 3 new MOUs in the director's contract related to terms and conditions of employment. Again, those are laid out in the memorandum. The 4 contracts submitted are consistent with the financial parameters established by the school board. And it's the superintendent's and my recommendation that the board approve the terms and conditions of employment between the district and the license coordinators and directors for July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025. It's our recommendation the board approve the amendment to the general counsel's contract for July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025. And it is our recommendation the board approve the amendments to the superintendent's contract for July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026. So the very last one is a 3-year term. The other contracts are 2-year terms. And with the ratification of the contract, Human Resources and Payroll would begin implementation.
Thank you, Yvonne. So I'll just go down the 4 different action items here, and we won't go back to you, Yvonne, correct? You don't need to say anything on any of the action items?
Just one correction. So for the superintendent's contract, the only amendments were to the salary changes, the 5% in year 1, the 3% in year 2. The other benefits are common to the other contracts. So that clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so is there a motion to approve the agreement and terms and conditions of employment between the Independent School District 279 and the school board, that school board and the license coordinators, July 1st, 23 to June 30th, 25?
So moved.
Moved by Director Grady, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Brooks, is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you again for reaching that agreement. I appreciate the negotiators and council and the negotiations teams. The next item is the recommendation for approval of the agreement and terms with condition of employment between ISD 279 School Board and directors and confidential managers. Is there a motion to approve this agreement on the terms and conditions of employment between the school board and the license coordinators, July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025?
So moved.
I think it's a typo I made.
Is there a typo?
Probably directors.
Directors? Oh. Oh, look at that. I have a typo, sorry. We are actually asking for a motion to approve the terms and condition of employment between the Independent School District 279 School Board and directors and confidential managers, July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Director Grady, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Prince. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, this next action item is a resolution relating to approval of addendum to the superintendent contract by and between the ISD 279 School Board and Dr. Kim Heil. Is there a motion to approve this resolution? This amendment. Go ahead. Motion by Director Prince, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Brooks. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. The next action item is a resolution relating to approval of an addendum to the general counsel contract by and between ISD 279 School Board and Amy Moore. I would like to make a motion to approve this resolution relating to the addendum. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Mitchell. Original motion by Director Mosqueda Jones. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Our final action item this evening is gifts to the district. Is there a motion to approve the gifts to the district totaling $58,158.55? I just feel like there should be 3 more cents. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Director Prince. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Brooks. Any discussion? Again, thank you to all the people that have donated to the district. We really appreciate it, along with your time. All in fa- go ahead.
Chair, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Chair, before you prepare to adjourn to the negotiation strategies, I do want to go back to the action items on the contracts and just express additional appreciation. We do have really strong leadership in this district, and we have amazing teachers and staff, but we also have amazing leadership. And just as you saw, every time we have facilities updates, operational updates, the awards that we win by our different department leaders, I didn't want to bypass that moment to just express that appreciation for our leadership as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, at this time, again, thank you all so much. At this time, the board will be taking a brief recess and then reconvene in the forum room for a closed session. This session is closed pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.03 for labor negotiations with hourly, technical, confidential support specialists, Kid Stop instructors, RNs, LPNs, educational support professionals, administrative educational support professionals, custodians, school nutrition, and the casual salary guide activities and coaches. All of the glue that keeps our district running right there. Is there a motion to recess the regular meeting for 10 minutes and then reconvene in the forum room for a closed session?
So moved.
Motion by Director Mitchell, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Prince, is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The motion passes 5-0, and the meeting is recessed at 7:44 PM, and the school board meeting will adjourn at the conclusion of the closed session. Thank you again for coming.
This is the Kansas sign.